Put the blob on there. Now I'm doing chestnuts first because it's not as thick in consistency. Giving the brush a good coating and then doing this same technique, wiping it off before we apply it. Now because it is slightly runnier, you need to give it a little bit of time to sort of dry because this stuff's a little bit awkward sometimes. So I've not really, it's good that it's done it because you'll see what happens if you don't quite let it dry, the carrier fluid. There's been a bit too much on the brush, so it's dragged the pigment. But it's more the colour that I'm wanting you to sort of pay attention to instead of the consistency of it. But you know, it is something to bear in mind. Joe Sonia's stuff's a lot thicker. You can see just from that, it's a lot thicker in consistency. So we've got to really, there's a lot on the brush now, it's really loaded. A lot on there. And then our last side. So that's our last one. So I will write underneath with pencil. Yes. C for chestnut. GC for gilt cream. The gilt cream, these acrylics, they will dry and you'll be able to touch them. Gilt cream, because it's on high spots, will wear off. You need to lacquer that. I use that satin lacquer, acrylic satin lacquer over the top, just spray it. On your compatibility charts, it doesn't state that they are compatible, and if you ask Terry would also say that it's not compatible, but that's for large areas. Normally you just put a wax over the top. But if you put a wax over the top of this, it will just take it off, it will redissolve the metal back into the wax and it will just wipe it off. I did have a box here, one of the first ones that I had to play with, after it had been passed round. This one's a bronze one, all the gilt cream had worn off because just because of people's hands. So that would need probably 2 or 3 goings over. But underneath I've just labelled them so that you know which is which. And we can, I'll turn the insert ready to do the gold leafing, and then we'll get a couple of things done after lunch, so I'll pass that round. I'm just going to do it quickly. Am I right just to wash this brush in the kitchen?
Yeah.
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 So it's just a really, really simple bit of colouring.
Yeah.
It's not in your face, it's not too loud. We've still got some natural wood on the lid, so you've got that contrast between the two. And I think it's enough.
It is.
So I will do our little insert. I tend to use all sorts of scrap pieces of wood for inserts. If you're going to put a metal leaf on anything, you want something that's fairly close grained. Sycamore's alright, you can do it with sycamore, that's no problem. You can do it on lime, lime does gild very well. I'd avoid things like ash and oak because it will pick out the grain differences, unless you want that as a feature. But in this instance we don't, so I'm just using this little bit of sycamore. So I've just tidied that front edge up, and I'm going to start to establish this little spigot that we're going to have as a locating spigot on the back. Because I'm just going to make sure it's rounded off. I don't like trying to part it through from the straight edge because it can just make the edge messy. It doesn't matter if you don't get a tight fit for this, because it's more of just a locating spigot, so if it's not 100%, I wouldn't get too stressed out about that at all. But the closer you can get it, the better really. So hopefully you can see that we've got that ragged edge. So that's why I just face the front off and then away until I've established where that spigot's going to be, so that we can now rectify that edge. Sycamore line, anything that thin is easy for it to break out. So we'll turn that down anyway. Want that nice and dull. Give it a good sand. If you are gilding, it needs to be sanded really to at least 400 grit. I'm only going to just do it to 240 today, I'm not messing about. But you will see any sanding rings or any turning lines, anything, any imperfections in there, it will show through the gold leaf. It is so incredibly thin that you'll just see everything through it. Even down to glue lines when you apply the size. If I am gilding, I always put a coat of shellac sanding sealer on top of that now to act as a base, because the size that we're putting on, basically, if you haven't sealed it, it will draw the moisture out of the size, that's the name for the glue, and it will not stick the metal leaf onto it. So you must make sure that it is sealed, and shellac is the preferred sealer used in the gilding world, if you like. Now I went on a gilding course a couple of years ago. Me and my other half, we both went on this course. Start this off. When I wish I had my angled parting chisel, because if that breaks off wrong, it's going to put a hole in that disc. So I've only put a tiny little ridge on there. It's not even a millimetre thick, it is just so that I can feel it as when the two parts are put together. So yeah, I was saying, we went on a gilding course and we learned how to do both oil gilding and water gilding, and I've got some examples to show you the differences. We normally always do oil gilding as wood turners, because water gilding is for very ornate work, very expensive work. So you see it on a lot of ornate frames. It's what they did when they restored Windsor Castle and all the carved decoration in the rooms, that was all water gilded. So we've got a couple of types of oil gilding here. One is done with loose leaf, one's done with transfer. The loose leaf one, which is this one, looks a little bit duller because it's had a coat of beeswax over it, and it always knocks back the shine if you put anything at all on top of it. You also have to brush your leaf once you've applied it, you know, to really kind of stick it down. And if you use a brush a little bit too much, or if the bristles are a bit hard, it will also scratch it a little bit. That's been done with transfer leaf. Transfer is slightly different. When you get a book of loose leaf, nothing's attached. You open the book and the leaves come out. Transfer gold is actually just very, very mildly glued onto the sheets of rouge paper that it comes with, so that you use it and you place it upside down onto the piece of work, and then you rub it off through the rouge paper. It's a lot less faffy than loose leaf because you haven't got gold floating about all over the place. And if you use real gold, it's very thin and it does tend to fly about. We're using metal leaf today, and if you are having a go at working with leaf, I would suggest practicing with metal leaf. It's cheaper, it's heavier, you can even pick it up with your fingers and tear it if you need to do, which is possibly what we're going to end up doing with this. So it's got different applications. Gold leafs are a lot more difficult to handle, so I'll pass those round. I'll just pop them on the table. So the way that oil gilding is done, it's what we're doing today. You have a shellac base usually, and then you put an oil size down. So this is a size selector. So this is some size, okay? It's just a glue. Water gilding is applied very differently. You build up layers of gesso, which is a little bit like plaster of Paris almost, but it's kind of a chalk kind of substance that's mixed with, usually with rabbit skins glue. So it's got a slightly adhesive property to it. And you build up layer and layer and layer, and it creates a cushion that you can put your leaf onto. Traditionally, you also have a bowl underneath. This has got a terracotta bowl. It's, you can see under there, and that's what gives the gold its richness, because